Hello friends, welcome to Dr. Rajkumar's Learning App. Today we are going to see about Tonga volcanic eruption. So what was the context of the Tonga volcanic eruption? So the news was sonic boom, earthquake, tsunami waves that were triggered due to the Tonga volcanic eruption. So this has created, so what has happened here is that below the surface of the ocean was one of those rare events which triggered tsunami waves. Now we can see here that the tsunami waves were traveled across the Pacific Ocean as well as other oceans of the world to the continents like North America, South America as well as Australia. So tsunami waves traveled across the South Pacific Ocean to these different continents. So again, the US Geological Survey estimated that the eruption caused the equivalent of magnitude of 5.8 earthquake. So this was the context of the Tonga volcanic eruption. So before going to the news, we will just see what do we mean by volcanoes. So volcanoes are nothing but an opening in the Earth's crust through which lava, volcanic ash and gases escape. So if you see here, this is a opening from the Earth's surface. So from this opening, you will find that the lava is coming out, then the volcanic ash is coming out as well as different gases just like hydrogen gas, sulfur dioxide gas, carbon dioxide gas, they escapes from the interior of the Earth. So what is the reason for these volcanoes? So where these volcanoes are generally found? So generally these volcanoes are found on the plate boundaries. For example, the Earth's crust is made up of different plates. There are major plates as well as minor plates. So where these plate boundaries are present, there actually these volcanoes are found. So we can see that 80% of the world's volcano they can found across the Pacific ring of the fire. So there are different types of plate boundaries. First is divergent plate boundary, second is convergent, and third is transform plate boundary. So generally we find that in all these types of plate boundaries we can find the volcanoes. So what happens in divergent? In divergent plate boundaries, the two plates they move away from each other. As they move away from each other, lava starts coming out of this opening. And in the convergent plate boundary, the two plate collides with each other. And the heavier plate, it gets subducted under the lighter plate. And here again the lava starts coming out through the openings. Now along the transform plate boundary, very few volcanoes are associated because here there is no divergence of the plates or there is no subduction zone of the plates. So we don't find any major volcanoes associated with the transform boundary. So where exactly this Tonga volcano is situated? So it is situated along the Pacific Ring of Fire or the Ring of Fire where the major volcanoes of the world are found. So it is present in the Pacific Ocean. So you can see the location of this Tonga. So what happens here is that now the Pacific plate, it starts subducting under the Australian plate. Now here the Australian plate and the Pacific plate, they collide and the Pacific plate, it starts subducting under the Australian plate. In this diagram you can see here that one plate is subducting under the second plate. So after the subduction of the one plate, the plate starts melting and the lava is formed. And this lava generally comes out from the Earth's surface in the form of the volcano through the openings which are generally called as volcanoes. And when these volcanoes erupts, there can be landslides. And when these landslides are taking place under the sea surface, tsunamis can be generated. So this is exactly what has happened at the Tonga volcanic eruption. Now we will see what this Tonga volcano is about. This Tonga volcano is erupting from centuries. So its name is Honga Tonga Honga Ha Pai volcano. So it was developed or it was formed in 2014 and 15 when the volcano started to erupt under the sea surface. Due to the eruption of the volcano under sea surface, a volcanic island was formed, and this is nothing but Tonga volcanic island. And again in December 2021, it started to erupt again violently by giving out ash, gases and steams. And this led to a formation of the mushroom-like structure above the South Pacific water. Now this was so violent that it led to collapse of the crater, and this crater was formed in 2014-2015 when the volcano was erupted. So here we can see that here the Pacific plate is subducted under the Australian plate where this Tonga volcano is present. Now the eruption was so violent that the lightning were produced. Also the sound was heard thousands of kilometers away in the Alaska. Now this Tonga volcano was so powerful that it was recorded around the world. So we can see that many of the waves traveled across the water, ocean water, and reached different parts of the world, just like Japan, North America, South America, as well as Australia. Now it has also sent the pressure shock waves around the planet twice. The volcanic eruption was so violent that the shock waves which were generated due to the eruption, it traveled the planet, it traveled the earth twice. So from this we can understand the intensity of the volcanic eruption. So now what were the effects of this volcanic eruption? Firstly, few islands of the Tonga country, they got submerged under the waves which were up to the height of 1 meters. Secondly, small tsunamis were formed, and also the large waves, they hit the Australia, North America, South America, as well as other parts of the country like New Zealand as well as Japan. So again, the underwater communication lines, they were cut off. This resulted into the total disconnection of the people of the Tonga from the rest of the world. So they were not able to communicate with the people outside of the country. Only the satellite phones, they are working right now, and rest of the world, they don't have any idea what exactly the situation in Tonga is right now. Now this volcanic eruption has altered the atmospheric pressure as well. So due to this altering of the atmospheric pressure, the fog which was present in the North America, it has been reduced. It has been vanished from the North America or the USA. Now the ash clouds were formed during the volcanic eruption, and this has led to rainfall as well as it has reduced the temperature across the world. Now again, this volcanic eruption, it can cause landslides in the oceans, and if the landslides takes place again in the ocean, it can result in formation of the tsunami waves, and if the tsunami waves are again created, it can be catastrophic for the island country, other islands in the ocean, as well as for the rest of the world. So this was all about Tonga volcanic eruptions, volcanoes, and its effects. Thanks for joining us. Thank you.